Hello, my name is Carina, and in this podcast, Break Fear, Find Freedom, I have conversations with people just like you who have broken their fear and found their freedom, whatever that may be. And shows you how to do the same. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee or your running shoes, whatever makes you happy, and let the fun begin. Oh, by the way, come take my hand and let's go. The door's opening now.
Hello, everybody. Today we have an awesome guest, Dr. Tayo Denton. Dr. Tayo Denton is a radiologist, but not just any radiologist. Dr. Tayo Denton is, hello, Dr. Tayo Denton. You tell us, please, about what makes you different as a radiologist.
Different. I think like everybody else, we're a composite of so many things. So, radiology is not all that defines me. Actually, before I got into radiology, I didn't know what I was going to do towards the end of medical school. And I just wanted something that excites me. And what excited me about radiology is the Sherlock Holmes aspect of it, problem solving. I just love the idea because I saw my mentor do it. And I just love the idea of somebody looking at a set of images. At that time, it was only x-rays, folks. Looking at a set of images and saying, based on this, and this is what I think is the matter. And the thing was that he was so right. He made that diagnosis from this picture. I want in. And that's how my radiology started. But basically, we're physicians who interpret various studies which look at the human body. One of them is what we call imaging. Anything that can take almost like a picture, an X-ray, an ultrasound, an MRI, nuclear medicine, and those kind of things. That's where my specialty lays.
Now that must be exciting, especially going into nuclear medicine, which is like new, very new. Well, it's not relatively, but it's relatively new compared to X-rays, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
And so what do you do? Do you just like look at all these pictures? Because you have to have a wonderful knowledge of the human body, right?
Absolutely.
But what about something that's different? Because surely, I mean, the human body is the human body, right? But there must be some kind of differences between people.
Oh, yes. There is the normal. There's the clearly abnormal. There could be abnormal. And that's what we call normal variance. And normal variance, you need to know that because that will prevent you from falling into the trap of thinking this is abnormal. But guess what? For this person, it's a normal variant. Lots of it. I mean, you may have seen people with maybe 6 extra digits on the hand.
Yes.
And instead of saying, oh, that is abnormal, you say, oh, that's an extra digit. And you recognize it from compared to a bony growth, for instance. Or you look at the way the heart is. There are some people who have their hearts on the other side. Instead of being on the left, it's on the right. And you want to recognize it as a variant. And you look at the plumbing and you see, oh, is it normal plumbing or is it in a way that will cause problems? So it's not just looking at the pictures, it's also knowing a bit of the physiology to go with it, how things work and whether this will be a problem or not. So yeah, it's not. Plus we take the information, any information we could get about the person into account, age, sex, what the symptoms were, everything that a clinician would do because we are clinicians and we use that to say, guess what I would say about a 6-year-old when I saw an X-ray would be different, or a CT scan would be different if I was looking at it in a pregnant woman.
Yes.
So
well, that's exciting. So you will never get bored in your job, right? Because every day is different.
Completely. And there are some things that they come up and you think, I have not seen this one before. And then you start deducing it. You start peeling back the layers. What could it be? What could have caused this? What are the other laboratory studies showing? And you put it all together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You put it all together until it's a combination of, the patient is in the center, but you also have the other people looking at other aspects of the patient, having their input, and you say, oh, we've reached a consensus. Some things are obvious. A fracture generally is a fracture, you know, but sometimes even fractures, you could hardly see them. And you have to look and they say, this person has this amount of pain. It's very it's very focal, had an accident. Now, if they didn't have an accident, then you say, maybe it's something else, and you look for something else. But if you say this person has an accident and has a pain, the most natural thing is to look at for a fracture at the site of the injury.
So all these deductions, and obviously you work with a whole team of people, right?
Yes.
Because you have to. So that's exciting. So you're doing the collaboration.
Yes.
Tell me how this has impacted your life, because you're an entrepreneur, right? How's it impacted your business as a creative and entrepreneur? And
I suppose in a way, when I'm a third generation entrepreneur, so I suppose it was in the water in a way. My grandfather had the first, what was in the old western region of Nigeria, he had the first textile mill there. So he was an entrepreneur. My mother built an amazing poultry farm, and not just poultry farm, general farming business in Nigeria. She was well known and she kind of grew it from nothing. So I never thought I had it in me, actually. I did not know. But so it's in there. So what I became passionate about was healthcare entrepreneurship. And what somebody whispered in my ear and said, that's a social entrepreneur, because I was very, very committed and very passionate about people getting the best healthcare they can wherever they happen to be. It's their right. You don't say just because they happen to live in Timbuktu, or they happen to live in Lagos, Nigeria, or they happen to live in Baghdad, we're going to scale down the healthcare we give them. I think that is patronizing, arrogant, and unfair.
Yes. So what did you do?
I call myself the visionary in chief because it was a vision that pretty much drove me. But what it was a medical clinic, and I hesitate to call it a diagnostic clinic because what I was looking was for aspects of not just diagnostic imaging, but aspects of medicine that would make a difference to the patients in that particular population. So it was going to be Nigeria, and I wanted the top level of diagnosis and other things that would make a difference. So we not only had the best CT scan anywhere in Lagos, Nigeria. It was what they call a 640 slice. It was best CT scanner anywhere. We also had a top end ultrasound machine, of which at the time there were only, I think, 2 or 3 in West Africa. Certainly as of the time I brought it as the original CT scanner, it was the only one in pretty much all of Africa. And then we added pain management to it, because you know what happens when you have pain.
Yes.
And I thought, I went to go and see a chiropractor because I was having shoulder pain. And he sorted it out mostly in a session. And I went, huh? You can do that?
Wow. Yes.
It was mind-blowing. And that gave me the idea to say, guess what? People need to know about this. And it was not invasive. And so I brought that in, and that was the plan, to bring in other things that would make a difference to people. How do I sort out this pain? This is it. And I'm also an interventional radiologist, which means I can also use, which is minimally invasive, needles, etc., to do some maybe steroid injections or some other treatments, as well as do biopsies under imaging guidance. So it's not like going to a doctor's office and having them do it blind. I am using either CT or ultrasound or some other thing that can look inside the body. And so my results are more accurate.
Yes.
It's targeted.
Wow. Wow. Well, so that was exciting.
It is. I've always loved radiology. I remember saying that, they're paying me for work I love, so no problem.
So you're living the ideal life. That's what everyone wants to do, right?
I just truly, I'd go in, I'd come off holidays and be excited to get back to see, okay, what challenges are there now? What challenges are there now? But as you grow older, some things shift and you move from, shall we say, having a career to wanting to make a difference.
Yes.
So at this stage of my life, it is making a difference, which,
So let's go into that. So how do you want to make a difference? So you started this clinic in Nigeria, just to go back. What happened?
Well, we had a few challenges. Let's put it very, very mildly. But it was
okay.
when it was set up, I can tell you there is nothing I am prouder of. People would come in and go, oh, wow. Everything was, you could step out of, I live in Canada, Toronto, as you know. You could step out of Toronto and not know that you were in Lagos, Nigeria.
Wow.
The equipment, the aesthetics, our staff, our ambience, our care for the patients was completely, focused, was completely unique, and we got a lot of respect for that. But yes, there's a long story behind that one.
Okay. Well, you know what? You had the courage to do something like that, which is commendable.
Oh yeah. You when you go into it, I said, I'm going to give it everything I've got. And I gave from planning to when I had the idea to planning to actually moving, etc. Was about, if we go from then to now, I'll say 12 years.
Wow.
From inception, because it was I knew nothing about it. I mean, even though I knew nothing, so I had to start with business plans and executive summaries and having meetings and talking to investors. It was a nice learning journey, and I'm very proud of it.
Yes, it must have been.
Yeah.
So how did that change your life after that?
Changing my life. The life of an entrepreneur, you begin to realize, is never straight up. We all hope it's zoom. It is never straight up. And the ability to go with the flow, to do what was needed, was amazing. And you learn certain things. You learn team, so we actually had a care. We had the team. We knew what we wanted. We wanted when the people left our place, we wanted them to be much happier than when they came in. We wanted them to think, yes, I'm here for something, but I got so much value. I got the better end of the deal. I said, we needed to know when they're walking away, they got the better end of that deal. And we succeeded. So it was gratifying from that point of view. It's what's called not just social entrepreneurship, but emotional intelligence, as you know, to be able to be not just for the money, because it never was for the money. It was for the impact. So impact investing, it was never for the money. I mean, I could stay in Canada and make a fortune. Thank you so much. It was about the impact it was making. And that's what I'm doing, the impact I can make now, where I can move over from, radiology and having the clinic in Nigeria, and I can have an impact on, the health generally, which is my particular niche, and women's health, which is also women's empowerment. Yes.
So tell me a bit about that. Tell me a bit about where you're at now, like regarding women's health and your impact you want to make in the world.
Regarding women's health, particularly a demographic like both of us, is you find women being pulled in so many different directions. And a lot of the time, the things they want to do, their health kind of like takes second place or third place, depending on their careers and their family, and such that all the things they wanted to do, what they put in a wish list, they never get to do, because they're just spinning their wheels. They're staying late at night at work. They're giving up weekends. They're giving up special events just to get work done, just to, keep on going up that career or business ladder. And I'm saying, guess what? You can actually, if you dial in your health in a certain way, and I discovered this when I went through menopause, it was horrible. You can actually end up getting your health so structured that you can be focused and productive for the period in which you are being productive, and you're not bothered with things like insomnia and, memory lapses and memory, brain fog. you can concentrate, you can deal with those things, they're taken care of, you can hammer it out and finish on time, be energetic, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, go on that adventure you wanted to go, climb that mountain, go, skydiving, whatever you want to do. And I was fortunate enough to do that.
So how do you do it? How do you show people how to do this?
My program called Get Your Sassy Back is saying, because we were all sassy once upon a time and we thought we could conquer the world. And somehow they like their career, they enjoy it, but at some stage it becomes I have to put more and more into it just to make an impact. And so we look at your health primarily. You've got your health, you've got energy, you can sleep well, you've got your nutrition dialed in, you've got some stress reduction techniques. You can do practically anything that you can focus, because then you move it into preparation and planning and efficient practices. But what I can say is that when you have a health challenge, and you and I know this probably, the universe becomes as small as that health challenge.
Yes.
Your focus completely narrows to that health challenge. Now, you take all of those away and you say, I can wake up refreshed, loving the day. Whatever challenges, because there will always be challenges you have at work, I can deal with it. And I can finish work when I need to finish work and go take the rest of the day to spend doing whatever it is I want. And I don't have to burn the midnight oil. I don't have to give my children or my spouse or my friends or my partner any excuses not to spend the time I want to spend with them. And that's how I think we're going to build a healthy society. And it's up to us women. It's up to us women.
Of course.
Yes. So
I think that's beautiful. And this, if you can just give everybody this promise and show them.
Yes. And I know you're doing that kind of wonderful work as well. So, we're all approaching it from maybe slightly different angles or focused on slightly different angles, but it's all the same ecosystem. It's all the same thing. It's all part of the bigger picture. Yes. So I think it's important for these synergies, as it were, because people can relate to something in one area and relate to another thing in another area. And I can say the same thing, but it won't relate to them quite as much as maybe when you say the same thing.
Yes.
People are just tuned differently, and we have to respect that, but do our best to make sure that they do get what they want.
Yes. I love that. So I'd say, yes, Dr. Tayo. That's really cool.
let's we keep on moving.
That's the way.
Yeah, we keep on moving.
What about you've done all these things, you've really had courage, you've just gone ahead to take on a project just quickly as big as your Nigeria project is huge. So have you at any point experienced fear, like fear where you just so afraid, you don't know why you're afraid, you're just sitting in a corner and you're afraid and you just don't know what to do?
I think fear is a constant. It's how we deal with it. It's just there, and it's how we deal with it and how we move forward from it or not. We can we can totally dissolve, and sometimes, unfortunately, it happens. And we can say, guess what? I am going to try and figure this out because I know that it is possible. Because there's almost nothing we do that hasn't been done by somebody else in some way. So we can look for role models, we can look for mentors, we can look for coaches. And it doesn't have to be a physical, I got to speak to this person. It could be a book, it could be an audio, it could be a TV series, it could be one of those fairy stories, but something which says, I'm going to triumph. And so, as you said, it was huge. I didn't know where I was going to start. I knew nothing. It was like, is this going to be a dream? How am I going to make it happen? And so I started by joining a business accelerator. Knew nothing, got a few coaches. I mean, I knew nothing. How to develop a business plan, how to get a logo bit by bit, have a website. And they were telling me, oh gosh, you haven't got this, you haven't got this, you haven't got this. And you have to prioritize. And then it was a matter of doing the day work as well as finding time to do this. So I was being stretched at every possible end. And it was, how was I going to do all of this and still remain sane? And that was where the health came in, because I realized I needed stamina. And if you have good health practices, stamina will get you through pretty much everything you want to do. And you have stamina, you're efficient, you're effective, it'll get you. And you're resourceful. You have to be resourceful. So it was, you stop. I mean, I remember the Texan business planner who I hired, and we were sitting down having a brainstorming session. And I was planning it to run at a distance. And he says, oh no, you are going to have to go and spend considerable time there. And this is a Caucasian Texan telling me, who grew up in Nigeria, that I have to go and sit there for considerable amounts of time to make sure it worked. He says, it's your business. Only you will know what you want from it. And I went, oh my God. My brain just did not want to hear that.
Yes.
And it was sitting down and thinking, okay, it makes sense. I don't want to do it, but I have to make it work. Yes. And because the dream was more powerful than my inconvenience, I figured out, okay, let's just take it one step at a time. But it's, if indeed I want this, I have to overcome that fear and move on from there. And it was still, every so often, it was still like, what am I doing? What do I actually, what do I know? I need all these people. I'm talking to all these people. They're nice, savvy business people. What do I know? But I think it became an MBA of life. Yes. I was learning as I was going along. And I said, some other people figured it out before me. I can figure it out. How much do you want this? You want it a lot? Okay. And I put everything I had, and I'm not joking when I say everything I had. It was like, I don't have, because you're looking for investors. Sometimes you can't get them, and you buy them yourself, and you buy whatever, and you say, ooh, how do I know I'm going to get my money back? But I said, that's not the question. The question is, what impact are you going to make? And that was how to move past the, as some people will put it, terror barrier. It was some nights it had the possibility of keeping me awake at night, but I just said, guess what? You made up your mind. It's what you wanted. Nobody forced you. It was your own idea. You have been, and I think it's also a good thing to have a reference point in the background. That one had gotten through other challenges, other terrifying challenges, whatever they were. You had successes. Recognize the successes and say, and why can't this be one of them? I'm just moving it one step higher.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Steps. Yes. I love that.
And I know you know what I'm talking about. It is daunting to put it. I mean, you sit there and you look at this and you say, can I do all this? But all of a sudden, after doing it, it becomes part of you. You own it and you just keep on going. And as they sometimes say, when you take that walk, other people would like to join you.
Yes.
Yeah, you find the right people to join you.
And that's the exciting part as well.
Yes.
I like that owning thing, because a lot of times you see people and you speak to people, and I'm sure you've had clients who want to do something, but they don't own it. So whatever it is they've got, it's over there and they're over here, and the two don't ever meet. So how do you own something?
There are some things you can't delegate. It's just that simple. I mean, if it is your core vision, And it's sure the same thing about whatever you do. You just can't delegate. You can delegate some of the repetitive things, some of the non-creative things, but how are we as a species going to live with AI and all that technology that's coming? And I love technology, by the way. It's by being creative, tapping into our creativity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So now we're going back to creative. You're a radiologist, right? And it's very practical. It's black and white, but you still have to have some kind of intuition. Surely, somehow.
Yes.
You've got to feel the person.
I agree.
So, and now you're creative.
I agree, because you were so right about black and white, because X-rays themselves are black and white, as you know.
Yes.
They're black and white representation of the body, and you put in color, but that's not what the body is emitting. It's just to make things easier to pick up. But how do you move from how do you create? Yeah, sometimes you just have that intuition. It can be built on, oh, I've seen something like this, or I've seen something close to this, or you can ask some questions and something gives you a hint, but there is a bit of intuition. And there is also, but it can also lead you astray, because it can lead you down a path, which if you had left it to a machine, it would be a bit more structured about the way it deals with things. So we have to recognize the limits of our intuition in such a practice. But in the wider practice of medicine, it's both an art and a science. It's not concrete. The human being is fluid, it's flexible, it has as many iterations as there are human beings. Yes. So you can't possibly put everybody in a box that says the eye must look like this and your fifth finger must look like that. You have to be able to, go with some flow and say, hey, I might have seen that in the jawbone. I'm seeing something similar, and I've never really heard of it in the, my fifth finger. But guess what? I think it would be, and then you go and do some research and you put it as a suggestion. So we do have a bit of intuition to go with it, but the thing is not to allow it to be the sole determinant. We still have to go through the structured process of reaching a conclusion, shall we say. It's when you have a conundrum that sometimes you go, oh, okay, I've seen this before, or I've read about this before. Could it be? And yes, there's some guiding something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But now you've also got the creative side where you're dealing with women and their health issues and that. And I think on some level that's got a lot of intuition.
Amazing amount, because when I'm speaking, which is preferred, but group also works, when you're speaking one-on-one, the questions are, a combination. If you're looking at a person, you can listen to the way they talk, you can actually feel what's behind what they're telling you. They've not verbalized it, but I'm sure you know that. Yes, you can actually feel what's behind the speech, what they're telling you, and you can take the conversation in a way that serves them without being offending or off-putting. Yes. Yeah, and you can still get, oh, okay, how did you know that?
I love it.
Yeah. So I love it. How do you know that? And how do you say, okay? And that's what comes to us as women, by the way, which experience. And so here you have all these people who are maybe in their 40s and late 30s now that perimenopause is being pushed earlier, and who are wondering, why aren't I as, active, as agile, as mentally focused, as energetic as I was when I was, 30. But there is this veil over that period of a woman's life, which basically says when you move into menopause, your sell-by date has gone.
Yes.
You are no longer as relevant. And I call it the politics of menopause, because there are a lot of things which want to keep women down there as almost, irrelevant.
Yes.
So instead, they're no longer listening to you. You're putting on a bit of weight. You're trying your hardest. You've been on every diet known to man, and nothing is shifting. The clothes are getting tighter. You're beginning to put your keys in the fridge. I've done that before. And you're thinking, I'm using all my energy to focus on my job. And yet, because you're no longer being given the recognition, your confidence may be slipping. And so you need to figure out that, guess what? Your experience will enrich, and you can move into this new phase of life positively empowered. And I think that is a very strong message that I'd like women to know.
Yes, definitely. Because we need to get out of, I think society, for me, ageism is a big issue.
It is.
It's terrible, because people start saying, oh, I'm 30. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. No, stop it. You can.
You want to shake them.
You say, like, what are you doing?
They've been fed by every media, society, and the people around them to say that they've grown up. It's not talked about. It's in hushed tones. It's not talked about in any positive light. And, when you hear people who say, look at the women who've gone past it, and see how they glow, see how empowered they are, see how the fact that, what the most interesting thing, they no longer put up with the crap, forgive my whatever, that they would put up with when they were younger. They found their voice.
Yes.
And there is nothing more powerful than a woman's voice.
Yes, I agree with you. Nothing. But there's also nothing more powerful than actually giving the woman or you the permission to have a voice.
Yes. So that is the idea, to give those women and say, listen, you can be even more powerful than you thought you were in your 30s. You can own everything you want. You can have everything you want. You've got experience. You don't have periods. You don't need to have babies. Done with that phase of life. I can move into a really empowering phase of my life.
I love that. I think, well, before I ask you the next question, because some women will forget, we need to just let people know where they can find you, because that's a very important thing right now after such a powerful statement.
Well, I suppose one of the easiest ways to do it is to go to my Facebook page, which is Facebook/TAYODEE. So it's under Tayo D. Or you could send me an email, and I offer complimentary sessions, focus sessions for those who want it. And it is Dr. DRTAYO at GETYOUR sassy SASSY.com. Get your sassy back, sassyback BACK.com.
I love that. Well, anyway, we'll have all those details at the bottom. This is not the end of the interview.
Exactly.
Tell us a bit, Tayo, about freedom. Have you ever found freedom? How did you feel? Let's just go. I know I keep going back to Nigeria because it's like such a huge thing to have accomplished that, as well as all your other things, right? But how did you feel after you saw people walking out of your clinic? Was that freedom for you, or was it like, what's the next thing now? I've done this.
It wasn't exactly freedom. It was a feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment. That was huge, 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 huge. Freedom, I'll tell you, when we had in the initial stages, I remember this graphically, oh boy. The machine came in, and it's a huge monster. And we had already done the building, and we were trying to get the machine into the room.
Yes.
And there were a few constraints because it was a small ramp. It was going uphill. There was, a wall in the way. It was like, is this going to stump us? And so we tried everything. I was just fortunate enough to find this wonderful man who was able to actually do some real fancy footwork. When I say fancy footwork, I mean fancy footwork. And get the machine into the room. So much so that when he got into the room, we were all kind of like high-fiving and, it's like, oh my God, because if we didn't get it in and we didn't get it on, nothing was going to happen. And we'd already broken it out, as it were, of its shrink wrap, because it was shrink wrapped for traveling. So those are that was what I could say. There were many episodes of freedom, or when, we had a soft opening, shall we say, and where you see, like I said, there were so many years behind there.
Yes.
And you walk around and you say, oh my gosh, all those years of thinking about it, of planning it, of actually being there, because I was there a lot of the time. And I remember I don't even have the clothes that I used. I looked like a navvy. You know what a navvy is? A navvy is like, if you're, and there's nothing against navvy, but I really, nothing, it was full of dust, it was hot. There was no such thing as a room with even a fan. And I was just, sweating like a whatever. And sometimes we wouldn't leave there till midnight. And it was a lot. And all of a sudden it comes together. Do you understand?
Yes.
And it comes together and you say, wow. Maybe if you had told me I'd have to go through all of that, I might do a rethink, but I'm glad I didn't know. I'm glad I didn't know, because where we are is amazing. There is nothing quite like that feeling of fulfillment and accomplishment. Yeah. Fear and moving into freedom, other areas. Certainly other areas. More personal areas.
Okay, well, let me just ask you, how did you cope after that? Because after having that feeling of accomplishment, like I said, it was huge, right? And there was a lot of growth. What was the next thing that you did where you felt that a feeling of accomplishment again, or did you never feel it again?
Feeling of accomplishment. Sometimes it's small things, believe it or not. Sometimes it is small things. Yeah. And I believe in the power of gratitude. Yes. So, when COVID started, for various reasons, I said, okay, the best place for me is back in Canada. And I basically made it before we went into full lockdown. In fact, they had already started lockdown, so I had to stay in there for 14 days with nothing in the house. Like, there was nothing in the house.
Oh, no.
No, nothing. So, one of my friends and colleagues brings me a care package and says, here is something to get you by. Things like batteries, things like, eggs. It was because I had nothing in the house, because anytime I kind of like went back and forth, I'd empty the fridge. So I wasn't expecting to come back. So that was, but actually when I got back, I really felt that, yes, okay. That was a tough decision.
Yes.
Really tough, but it was a necessary decision, and carrying it out gave me a sense of freedom. Absolutely. It was. And things like that, because I just didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't have, at that point in time, the clinic, because of COVID, at least in the initial stages, we shut it down because I wanted to protect both the patients and my staff, because there was no formal way of protecting them. It was very new at the time. I'm talking March last year. It was very new. Nobody knew what was going on. And we didn't know that the government would give us any, access to PPEs, we didn't know anything, sanitizers. Yeah. So I tried to get as much as we can, but we didn't get enough for me to feel confident and happy that I'm not putting the staff and the patients coming to see us at risk. So for that time, we closed it down, which means I had no income, as in zero.
Yes.
So it was a matter of, okay, now you're talking of fear. It's like, okay, where do we go from here? And then you just start and you say, guess what? you know how to work. You can use your brain. Start looking, start looking, start looking. And slowly, 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 things started happening. And so that's where, but you have to have the mindset that this can be done. This is a temporary setback. It's fearful. I just don't know what is happening. Am I going to end up on the streets without a house? All of those things were possibilities, by the way. I'm not exaggerating. All of those things were possibilities. Yes. How to pay for the house, because I had already used the house as a line of credit for the business. So it was like stripped out everything. And it was like, okay, let's start. Let's see where we're going with this one. And I think it was just putting one foot in front of the other. That's it. And so from the minute you make that decision, you will still have periods of, oh gosh, what will happen? But you put one foot in front of the other. And I remind myself that the same me that was able to put up that clinic, the same me that went through medical school, the same me that went through radiology training, the same me can do it.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. That's very empowering. It's great. And people need to hear that and need to realize how powerful they are. These things are so possible.
They have to. Yeah.
I love that. So, Tayo, I know you've already done a lot, right? But what change do you want to be in the world?
What changes do I?
What change do you want to be in the world?
The change is the path I'm on now, which is, women's empowerment. And I'll say, if I could niche it down even further, it's for women to become their own CEOs. And sometimes that will mean becoming an entrepreneur, but it means you're in charge of your destiny. Be in charge of your destiny. If something doesn't work out for you, if you're at work and you don't like it and you're being whatever, figure out a solution, even if it means you're going to go out on your own. But it can be done. Don't allow people to tell you who you can be.
Yes, I love that too. Yes, because I think a lot of the time as women, you think it's okay for like your friend to say, "Why are you doing this?" or your lover to say, "Why are you not doing that?" or "Hey, why are you writing? What's wrong with you? You're stupid. Like you can't do that." Or "Why do you want to do a podcast?" Like who do you think you are?
Who's going to listen to you?
Who's going to listen to you? Exactly. Who's going to listen to you? Who's going to read your stuff?
Who's going to buy anything from you? Who wants to hear what you have to say? And, you have to have the conviction, along with market research, mind you, and to say, I'm passionate about this. I'm helping people and I'm delivering value. Yes. And if you can deliver value and show people that they can get more value than what, they think than what they think they're giving me, then perfect solution.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. There's a few sayings out there, a bit extreme, but it's like, all the Elon Musks and of this world. And I think this one came from the man who owns Viome. I'll remember his name in a minute. But it basically says, if you want to earn $1 million, come up with $1 billion solution or help create. Basically, it's just saying the orders of magnitude of what you do should be felt far greater than what you take in.
Yes. And I think it's just about serving.
And it doesn't have to be, you see, people make the mistake of sometimes thinking it is like for like, that it is dollar for dollar. It isn't. It's the effect. Money is just a tool. It is the effect. Now, if you save somebody's life, what price do you want to put on that?
Exactly.
And that's why, right. By the way, medicine is appealing. But all aspects of our life, that is more immediate, shall we say, and more obvious. But all aspects of our life, we can save people, be it counseling, be it, the fireman, all aspects of our life can save somebody.
Yes.
Even just being a human being can save somebody.
Yeah.
So.
And just, well, helping them, also having a hand to help them up.
Yes. Just being there, just being human, just being caring, just being empathic. I don't believe in sympathy. I think that can be patronizing. I think empathy is where it's at. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Tayo. Now, tell us again where we can find you, please.
Okay, facebook.com/TAYODEE. That's one avenue. And if you've got a pen and you want to write this down, it is DrTayourSassyBack.com. Dr. Tayo at getyourSassyBack.com. That's email. You can reach me anytime. If you want a complimentary consultation, a nice, short, focused one, I will send you my calendar and we can set something up. Absolutely. I look forward to hearing from you.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Tayo. And thank you for that generous offer.
Oh, Carina, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's nice to talk to, people who are doing wonderful things in the world, who are, changing lives. And thank you for the lives you are changing with the work you do.
Thank you. Well, likewise, you are making a huge difference as well. So it's pretty cool. I think maybe sometime we can do a collaboration or something.
I think so. I really think that it becomes synergistic.
Yes, yes.
And it's not just the sum of what we do. It really has the potential to be exponential. I think so.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tayo. Thank you for your time. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here.
It is.
And we will have to do another one in the future sometime.
It would be my pleasure and honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tasa. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. And thank you for listening right to the end. Now, if you want to know more about breaking fear and if it's keeping you stuck, check out the quiz. The details are below. Subscribe so you can hear some more of this delicious conversations. And then watch out for my book, The Clank of Chains, which is coming out very soon. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye.